Hello, good afternoon. My name is Wilson Pelez. Today I am going to explain a little bit of the four temperaments. As we can see today, the four temperaments will talk about the way how our human body it will have their personality. It's been said that every people has their own personality, and there is a studies that says the personality of people it depends on sometimes on the behavior, sometimes on the mood, but some of our temperaments will come up inside of us. For example, we do have four temperaments. The ones are sanguine, choleric, phlegmatic, and also melancholic. as as it's been said, I'm going to explain each one individually. And there are two divisions. One is the sanguine and choleric. There are people who are extroverted. Uh, they tend to be outgoing. And there are the phlegmatic, is the introvert. Those people tend to be introvert. They tend to be only, they keep everything for themselves. Talking a little bit about sanguine, there is the elements of the sanguine people are the air, and their qualities are hot and moist. The central organ that touch the sanguine people are the heart, and on the humor, the thing that comes in their blood. So that is according to the sanguine people. Uh, I was doing a little bit of research, and it says that the good things about this characteristic of the sanguine people is that they're very energetic. They're always outgoing, and they like to make jokes all the time. And they're easygoing. They speak with people and pretending to, it's like something come naturally. They think they know that their situation is just like you speak with somebody who is a phlegmatic, and it's like he knows you for a while. And that's what I find out. One of the things that I found out that is negative um, for this temperament or this type of temperament is that if the kids has this type of temperament, it will be a little bit dangerous because they're easygoing and talkative. They speak with a lot of people, and they also speak with stranger. So that is when became a little bit dangerous for kids, because as I said, it's the most dangerous thing is that we can find them in personality. Uh, they're the sanguine people. They're a little bit exaggerated to make themselves look a lot more successful, and they try to twist the truth for some things. Uh, the major weakness of sanguine is that they also adopt unhealthy and destructive behaviors. Is that because they're easygoing, they're talkative. They also they make destructive themselves, but acting uh, in sometimes in a bad way. Um, Not pretty sure if that is because they wanted to be attractive. If nobody is paying attention to them, they wanted to try a little bit more, like uh, being a lot more active and try to behave in a destructive way. So speaking a little bit about the next one of this time we're gonna talk a little bit about choleric temperament. Uh, the element of this temperament is the fire. So this is the contrary of the of others. This is as we know, fire is one of the temperaments that one of the elements that is that it causes danger. So this element in a person who's very choleric, the just the word about choleric, we think about someone who's very brave, but at the same time it's very angry, and it gets angry really really quick. And I can say that I will laugh a little bit because in my family specifically, I will say that the temperament is it's a little bit hard according to my partner at this time. Uh, the one of the qualities is they're very hot in the meaning of they always and they constantly extrovert, like they're easygoing, but at the same time they pretend to demean everyone, and the substance that they work or they try to uh, combine with the element is their elements are the liver. It also act very hard. It does have a really good qualities though. One of the good qualities of a person who is melancholic, choleric, is that this person has a it's very well oriented, and they go straight forwards. If they're angry or they're doing something bad, they will tell you straightforward that something that you're doing bad, uh, too bad, because they get angry for little single details. They want everything to do well. If nobody does it well, they try to do it themselves. That's how I live with. And it's not I'm not saying I'm choleric. I I'm a different one, but I will explain this at the end of the explanation of each one of the temperaments, just to be a lot more getting focused into the conversation at this time. So a choleric person, they behave like they don't have fears, but I'm sure. But after that, they tend to cry, but without even other people watching at them. So they're brave. They're up straightforward. They're very choleric, but they have the weakness, and their weakness is that they do not regret themselves, but they also act like in a bad manner. uh, One of the bad things of a choleric is that, as I said, they're very weak level of self-control. And what happens is that they tend to say everything without even thinking about what to say. And in a matter of a second, they will think what they have done. And this is very dangerous with this person, because if the person who's a little bit choleric, it will do or act in a different matter. I will say that sometimes they tend to kill. They tend to throw things away, and sometimes they throw everything, even if they're expensive for them, they just throw it away. Some of them tend to hit the walls with the gun. So no, I'm sorry, with the hand. But it's something that we cannot control. I will say they are their weakness, and that is very hard. The next temperament I will talk a little bit about is the melancholic. Uh, the melancholic person, when I see this temperament, uh, I tend to think about a person who's yelling at me all the time, and I will be like just listening and doing nothing, just relaxing and acting wisely and humble, just thinking what to do. In the meantime, not answering anything. That's what I think that I will I will do it. And the characteristic of this person who has this type of temperament is a self-reliance. That's what I explained for. Self-reliance is that I can control, or that person can control themselves with any situation that might happen with them, uh, which that is a really great advantage of a melancholic people, because it tends to not solve problem but stay away from any problem. um, they're very reserved. They don't speak a lot. They're very thoughtful. And one of the bad things of melancholic people is that they present sometimes anxiety because they think they're not, basically they're not outgoing. They're the opposite. They're introverts. They act by themselves, and sometimes uh, I will say that it is bad because they tend to hurt themselves without even hurting someone. They pretend to be more inner person than outer person, and trying to act more like defending the other ones without even suffering. So they try to suffer themselves. Like if something happens, they will do something in a good way, trying not to say something bad to the other person, because that melancholic person think about it before say something, and those situations sometimes are hurting themselves. And the good thing of this one, it's very analytic and very well task oriented. It think a lot about how to do things, how to say things before react, and also they're easygoing also. They're very easygoing, very reserved, that is for sure. And sometimes they tend to keep things by themselves. It depends on the situation, right? All this all this temperament sometimes depends on the behavior of the person, of the weather, of how, or with the person what they're relating to. The next one I'm going to talk a little bit is the phlegmatic. The phlegmatic person is an easygoing individual. They go like quick. They're also very peaceful. They try to solve problems very relaxed and very quiet. Uh, the element of this person is water. So sometimes that's why they get very well connected with a choleric person, because the choleric person, remember as I said before, the choleric person is, it represents the fire on the element, and the phlegmatic person, it represents the water on the element. And it is a really good combination of into a relationship. Um, in the characteristics, they're cold and moist. They use the brain very well, and the substance that they use for in the human body is the phlegm, PHLEGM, uh, because they're phlegmatic. Um, they, as I said before, they're very peaceful, relaxed. They're very quiet, and very sympathetic people. They're easygoing, and so it is someone that you can talk to very easy. And one of the characteristics very well of this person, of this type of behavior, of type of temperament, is that it tends to care a lot about people forgetting themselves. Um, this is very funny because I've seen a lot of people who I ask them, how are you doing? They say, I'm doing good, but some people can be better than I do. So he tries to help, or they try to help each other, others. Um, one of the bad things or negative things about phlegmatic personality is that they hide their emotions. They're very hard. They don't tell. They don't. They're very. They keep things under in themselves. They're not very. They don't even speak about their personal things. They just, if something happens, they just keep it for themselves. And that is one of the bad things. One of the characteristics of this phlegmatic person is to describe the most stable, calm personality. As I said before, it's very calm, very quiet, but it is very calm. Her personality, it's more like, as I say, as I imagine myself, if the choleric person is throwing dishes everywhere and throwing everything everywhere, as long as it doesn't hit me, it doesn't hit the person on that one, I will say that this person is very, very, very well oriented and calm. Things happening, it's like flying things, and it's very calm in that situation. Uh, Restating the whole presentation, I will say that at the beginning, I I explained a little bit about the four temperaments. So I explained a little bit of the sanguine, choleric, phlegmatic, and melancholic at the same time. And those are the four temperaments that I explained. Um, Speaking about the positive and negative factors of each one of them. Uh, to be honest, I there is a book that I read a while ago, that's for sure, that specifically it talks about personality, how people act, how people react. And I always been qualifying myself as a melancholic person. A melancholic person is always tend to cry for nothing, and if something happens, then I'm pretty sure they'll be like showing their situation, and they tend to cry very quick. It is a little bit of hectic situation at the same time, but in general, we can change that personality. We can learn how to manage that for sure, but we cannot change it. People live and will raise, and eventually about the behavior, they would try to constantly improving for the way they react. But I think we can change about that situation. We were raised and born like that. And there is a question that it says, if the four temperaments can help our relationship, I would say yes. In a matter of, I remember, to be honest, I remember when in my family, well, my parents and my father, my mother, my my mother was very, very choleric, but she was very quiet. She was very calm. I think she was more like me. She was like more a lot more phlegmatic, but at the same time she was very choleric. And my dad, it was the opposite. My dad was very choleric, and I can qualify another temperaments about my father because he never jokes. Um, he tends to keep things for themselves. I haven't seen him cry. He's still alive. Uh, my and speaking a little bit about my mother, she died. She passed ago. She dies already. Uh, she she was a very, I don't remember her making jokes, but I do remember her staying quiet and calm. And when she gets angry, it was like a bomb in the house. Nobody, nobody speaks like in a bad manner. Everyone was like doing everything really quick. But with my going back with my mom, uh, I learned how to love my mom like that. She was very, very lovely person. Uh, I believe she was melancholic and choleric. She was melancholic, choleric personality, and I I was very easygoing with her. My brothers and sisters, they sometimes they get along with her, but I don't remember my mom was doing something like, for example, she didn't beat me. She just like scolded me in a good manner, but every time she scolded me, I cry. And then when she saw me crying, we start crying, and she was like, "Why are you crying?" And I was like, "Yeah, because you never tell me anything bad, and now that you're scolding me, I feel like you really beat me." And remember that situation like it was yesterday. And I'm pretty sure I wish I can go back those times, but it's something happened already. She's not with us anymore. But talking about that temperaments, I will say she was melancholic choleric. Well, talking a little bit about my father, she talking a little bit of that situation about temperaments. But my father, he was very choleric. I can say another thing. He was very choleric and very strict. The things that I remember about him is that he's always beating us for, I would say, for nothing. I don't remember being a bad kid. uh, Honestly, I was not a bad kid. He always told that we need to learn lessons just by beating us. I think I had that on my heart still. That, speaking a little bit of the temperaments, um, I might say that we were raised and born like that, but I think it depends on the situation, on the place where we live. Our my parents, specifically my father, has a situation in which he he tends to act very strict. He was acting very strict, but in that manner of correcting us, it is. I think that it makes myself a little, I might say, weak, but I try to change that situation along the way. I've been reading books about how I can change my personality and how I can be uh, very, very, like, not choleric, but to be honest, not to cry for nothing, but it's something that I think that in my heart, the melancholic situation was created about because of the environment. I am not pretty sure if that will happen. I might have to study a little bit about that situation, but being living in that situation, it was not really good. Um, at the moment, I will say I wanted to. I forgive and forget my parent already, my father specifically. But speaking about love, about him, I respect him, but I don't know. I don't know how to explain about this situation, but I am pretty sure something will come up for me in order to get, like, in my brain or my head how that going. But that that's what I can say a little bit of the relationship between into my parents. But speaking all about here at my house, I think that my partner, she's very choleric. She start throw things away, and when she's angry, she, in a matter of 10 minutes, she start joking. Her She is very choleric, like it's like another bomb in the house. But at the same time, she started making jokes. Like in a matter of seconds, she is changing our personalities, and I learned already how to live with it. Sometimes it hurts a lot, and as you told me once, or as I learned once, I need to learn how to say things without even hurting someone, and say it straight with respect and everything. But for me, I think it's hard. It is really hard because I am very melancholic, and if I say something, I don't want to hurt her. And I am also very choleric, but I, because of the melancholic thing goes higher in my personality, it tends to um, I tend to act and think in a good manner. So before I act, I need to think and organize my thought before I say something. But then it comes up the situation about, well, I need to think first. I don't want to hurt her. I don't want to be sound really bad because I am very analytic, and she's also very analytic too. But it's more on the situation about analytic in a matter of, I know you say this, but I didn't say that, but it's like a twisting my words, and I learned how to live with it. I am pretty sure one day I will explode and I will tell everything in right away. But other than that, I think it helps our relationship because you might know now that she is she's the fire and I'm the water of the house. If something is burning, I put water. If something is getting icy, she puts the fire. And I laugh because sometimes she said, I want to fight today. Do you want to fight with me? And I don't answer back. I just laugh. And that laugh is more like changing the whole situation in that matter of a second. And you think I'm crazy, blah. And so that situation happens. So responding in general, I will say yes, the four temperaments about a person and interrelationship, it does help a lot. Imagine that I will be choleric and she will be choleric. I wouldn't be here. And no, I don't think I will be here yet because the situation of being choleric, it doesn't work. And I believe that's how I present these four temperaments: choleric, sanguine, and phlegmatic and melancholic. I believe we all have a little bit of those ones, but in my personal family, my personal house, my personal home, uh, my relationship, she is choleric and sanguine, and I am the melancholic choleric. We both have a little bit of choleric, but I tend to think before act, and she act before she thinks. But I think it's the way our relationship it goes, and it's gonna keep going for the rest of our lives. Who knows when it's gonna be? But in order to keep going, I need to be an easygoing. So thank you very much for this opportunity to explain you a little bit about four temperaments. I am pretty sure you will laugh a little bit of a situation. Of course, you can do it. It doesn't really hurt at all. I That is the point, that you will know a little bit about your students. And thank you very much for the opportunity about letting me explain this for temperaments. Thank you. Be blessed and goodbye.